Of reporters working this story since early this morning. We have a lot of new information for you this evening.
Many of us still just struggling to comprehend what happened in downtown San Jose, though we've been through this before in other Bay Area locations, not quite to this magnitude in the middle of the Bay Area's biggest city. We
begin with the names of the 8 people killed, the 8 lives suddenly stolen. The Santa Clara County coroner giving us that list late tonight. We're working to learn all that we can about these people. Among the victims, 36-year-old Tapdejdeep Singh, 40-year-old Michael Rudometkin, and 42-year-old Paul Mejia.
The youngest victim here, 29-year-old Adrian Baeza, 35-year-old Jose Hernandez III, 49-year-old Timothy Romo, 63-year-old Abdul Wahab Alagmandan, and 63-year-old Lars Lane. Let's begin with NBC Bay Area Cheryl Hurd in San Jose. And Cheryl, the sheriff told us point blank this could have been much worse, but Mr. Singh was heroic in the moments before he died.
That's absolutely right. I talked to one of his family members here at the Reunification Center, and he says that his family watches mass shootings on television all the time, and he never thought that his family would be the victims of one. They are living their worst nightmare. Their family member won't be coming back. Red Cross staff members in San Jose consoling each other after a long day filled with grief. The Singh family, waiting for hours outside the Reunification Center, got the news this evening that Tapdejdeep Singh is one of the victims who died in the mass shooting.
I listen to the news, then I call and say, oh, Tapdej is missing, because I know he's working here. So I call him, he don't pick up the phone.
Multiple family members calling his phone with no answer.
He's the one, he's a nicer one in our family. You know, he's friendly, you know. He has too many friends, you know.
So many friends that his family was told by co-workers that during the mass shooting at the rail yard this morning, he saved lives. His brother says when Deep Singh heard the shots this morning, he called co-workers and even pushed one of them to safety. They can't believe that this father of a 1- and 3-year-old will never be coming home.
We suffer a lot since this morning. His body is still there, you know. Anybody can grab the purse and then see the ID and who is this, you know.
This evening, we watched heartbroken family members leave the center after learning the news.
We are a member of the community, and there are members of our community, so during this tragic time, we're here to support them.
San Jose Council member Raul Perales in a statement tonight giving support and also grieving. His childhood friend, Michael Rudometkin, also one of the victims. In a statement, Perales says he feels the same grief and agony that the families of the 8 victims are experiencing right now. Mayor Sam Liccardo understands the pain.
You know, if you work a shift where you're at work at 5 or 6 a.m., you get to know each other pretty well. These were people who cared a lot about each other. And
now the mayor tells me tonight that he is planning a memorial at 6 p.m. at City Hall for the victims and to help heal the city. Reporting live in San Jose, I'm Cheryl Hurd, NBC Bay Area News.
Cheryl, and we need it as we grieve these victims now. This is also an intense and very active criminal investigation. Let's bring in NBC Bay Area's Ian Cull at the downtown VTA rail yard. Ian, I was there with you for most of the day. What's the very latest?
Yeah, well, the latest is, Raj, is that they've taken down that outside perimeter, so we're able to come in a little closer, see the facility up close. Really, for the first time today, you can see deputies still guarding the scene here 16 hours after the shooting. It happened during a shift change this morning at the facility, which is just about 100 yards from the sheriff's headquarters. The motive is still unclear.
Tonight, the crime scene still under lockdown as local and federal detectives piece together exactly how the mass shooting happened.
This is an active shooter, reportedly 8 employees at the light rail maintenance yard.
The shots began just after 6:30 in the morning. Sheriff's deputies racing next door to the main VTA light rail yard. Bullets still being fired. They'd find 8 people shot dead, the suspect turning the gun on himself. Soon after, the bomb squad, FBI, and ATF responding when a K-9 alerted possible explosives at the scene. Sources tell us none were found. Sheriff Lori Smith believes the quick actions from deputies kept it from getting any work.
They're my true heroes. There was active shooting going on at that time. They responded the way that they should. They took their life in their hands, and I know for sure that when the suspect knew the law enforcement was there, he took his own life.
Tonight, we spoke with electrician Gerald Pfeiffer, who worked with the suspect and at least 3 of the victims when he was a subcontractor for VTA.
I was actually really shocked because I knew that guy Sam pretty well because I'd seen him a lot over the last 2 years when I was working with him from 2013 to 2015, and always really nice and supportive.
He worked for 2 years at the light rail yard where the VTA trains park for the night and says there is security at the front gate, but employees can go right through.
It's just a really tragic day, and I feel bad for the families and the people that I knew. It's a really sad day. I feel bad for everybody.
Tonight, the FBI and ATF are working to document and recreate the crime scene to come up with an even more detailed timeline. The process could take days.
Law enforcement sources tell our investigative unit this is a very complex crime scene, which includes the maintenance facility building and yard, a second building called Building B, as well as a guard shack. The VTA also just announcing in the past half hour that it will be holding a press conference tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock to share more about the victims. Live in San Jose, Ian Cole, NBC, Bay Area News.
It is tragic. Thank you, Ian. Tonight, there's also an active investigation at the suspected gunman's home. We want to show you exactly where that is in relation to the shooting. The house in South San Jose on Agmar Court, about 8 miles from the VTA rail yard. Want to show you some video of Samuel Cassidy leaving his home this morning. You can see he's carrying a black duffel bag that he then puts into the back of the white pickup truck. That home in South San Jose, the focus of law enforcement, firefighters, and federal agents tonight. NBC Bay Area's Sergio Quintana has been at that neighborhood all evening, and Sergio, a lot of the neighbors on that street have really been out of their homes for hours now.
Yeah, that's because as soon as firefighters arrived and started knocking down the flames on that house fire, they quickly started getting concerned that there may be something inside the house that could be potentially dangerous for the neighborhood. So they cleared out a lot of the neighbors, and a lot of them only recently are allowed to return to their homes this evening. This block of Agmar Court in South San Jose has been the scene of a fire and is now connected to one of the worst fatal mass shootings ever in the Bay Area. After several hours, police tonight began taking down some of the crime scene tape, allowing neighbors to return home. Many were concerned when they watched as thick smoke began rising out of a house on this cul-de-sac.
Flames coming out of the window, and it was lapping at the other house at the roof.
What'd you do?
Grabbed their hose and start putting it out.
I look at outside, it starts smoking come out outside.
Doug Sue lives right across the street from Samuel Cassidy. The man investigators say is the suspect in today's mass shooting. As the fire was burning, Sue learned about the violence at the VTA light rail yard. He decided to check his security video to see if he spotted anything unusual. In the video he shared, you can see Cassidy walking to the passenger door of a white Ford pickup in the driveway. He's carrying a bag, which he arranges in the front seat before leaving. Sue says Cassidy was not a friendly neighbor.
He stared at me all the time. He never said hi. He just don't say anything. Kind of scare him. He looked like a scared person.
Investigators from several agencies, including the FBI, spent much of the day collecting evidence. At some point, the police expanded their scene and brought in a robot to help. So far, the San Jose bomb squad has not found any explosive devices at Cassidy's home. And tonight, police are letting residents return to their cul-de-sac, but they're not letting anyone else enter. In San Jose, Sergio Quintana, NBC Bay Area News.